standard 12, we are going to continue with the chapter on sexual reproduction in plants. Now today what we are going to study is about the flower. Now all of you have more or less know about the flower, the basic features. Just it is a recapitulation or recollecting all those things with little bit more in detail. Now flower, we say it's a modified shoot. It's a modified reproductive shoot. So it's a part of the shoot system which has a special function of sexual reproduction. Now there are four holes of the flower. They are called the calyx, corolla, androecium and the gynoecium, and very commonly known as sepals, petals, your stamens and the pistil. Now among these, you know, the calyx and corolla, they are called the non-essential or the accessory holes because they directly do not take part in reproduction. But basically, like calyx helps in photosynthesis and protection of the inner holes in the bud condition. Corolla, of course, is a colorful in many cases, and corolla function is mainly attracting insect. Now, sometimes we use a term called perianth. Now, if the calyx and corolla is indistinguishable, you cannot distinguish whether it is definitely a calyx or corolla, then we call this term perianth. Now, in essential hole, you have the androecium and the gynoecium. Androecium usually refers to the stamen or the male reproductive organ of the plant, and gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the plant, which is also known as the pistil. And all these are held by the thalamus or the receptacle. You can see here, suppose if this is the ovary, so all the, suppose androecium like this, the gynoecium, the petals and the sepals are held here by a receptacle or the thalamus. Below the thalamus is the pedicel. Now, thalamus is also known as the receptacle. Anther has another name called the microsporophyll, and carpels or pistil, the female reproductive organ, has another name called the megasporophyll. Now, the pistil can be a monocarpellary or the polycarpellary. Just I will try to tell about the anther. Now anther, if you see, it has three parts. On the top you have the anther lobes, which usually has four chambers, and there is a small filament, and it is connected to a place called the connective. So if you see the anther lobes, these anther lobes, if you cut it in two sections, they are diathecous, and that means two lobes are there. On either side of the two lobes, you see that each of them, they have the two sporangiophore, or which contains the sporangium or the spore sac or the pollen grain, and it is connected here. The filament is connected to the middle portion here, which is called the connective. You can see a little bit here. The structure is shown, the anther lobes. There are, these are the sporophylls, which contains the male gametes after maturation, and here is the place where the connective is there, where the filament is connected. So this is a diathecous, means there are two lobes, and each of these two lobes are subdivided into two parts. Now we'll come back here. So pistil is, of course, they are monocarpellary. That means if there is a single carpel, we call them monocarpellary. If the carpels are more than one, we call them polycarpellary. Now there are some terms that we have to know, that what is a complete flower. If a flower has all the four holes, then we call it a complete flower. And incomplete flowers are those which do not possess any of the particular holes. That can be an essential hole, or like a ray floret of the sunflower is an incomplete flower. A neuter flower, when they do not possess any of the essential holes, the reproductive holes, then we call them a neuter flower. Now, I have already discussed about monoecious plant and dioecious plant, and bisexual plant and unisexual plant. Unisexual plant is if they possess either the stamen or the pistil. If they possess the stamen only, they are called staminate. If they possess the pistil only, they are called the pistillate flower. In monoecious and dioecious, of course, here the male flowers and the female flowers may exist on two different plants, or it can exist on the same plant. Okay, we have discussed, so I am not going into that because we have already studied that. Now, according to the relative position of the thalamus, we can define that the flower are of three types. One we call the epigynous flower. Now epigynous flower means, epi means on the outside or on the top. Gynous comes from the word gynoecium. That means if the other holes, or like say for example the anther, the pistil and all, or the calyx and the corolla, they lie above the gynoecium. Like say for example, here you see the thalamus is there encircling the ovary or the carpel, and the style is coming out. Now see all this holes, this is the petal, this is the androecium, they are all above the gynoecium. If they are above the gynoecium, we call them epigynous flower. Usually we call this an inferior ovary, that means the ovary is lying inside, and most of this flower they develop into a type of fruit we call the false fruit. Like in case of apple, in the case of pear, you will see the ovary is inside the fruit, and the part of the edible part of the fruit in apple or pear is the thalamus. We eat the thalamus, that is the swell portion, and inside the apple if you see there is a small seed covered by a thin membranous sheath, that is actually the ovary. So usually they give rise to the epigynous flower, give rise to the false fruit. In perigynous flower, you will find the ovary, that gynoecium and other floral parts almost in the same line. So they are called perigynous flower. And in hypogynous flower, of course, like they will be lying above the thalamus. The ovary will be above the thalamus. All the other holes like the androecium, the calyx and the corolla will be above the will be below the gynoecium and above the thalamus. That is we call hypogynous, because all are below the gynoecium. Hypo means below. Now this is the external feature. Now some of the things which you have to know, like the study of the flower, this term is called anthology. Culture and marketing of flower. You know, like nowadays flower is one of the very important ornamental product which has a wide market worldwide. Now this is known as floriculture. The largest flower, here I have not written the largest flower, all of you know, mostly you know, the Rafflesia, which is a flower which is found mostly in Thailand and in Vietnam, this area. On the river beds this type of flower grows more than a meter wide, and these are usually Eliphophilus flower pollinated by elephants when they trample upon this flower. So that's the largest flower, and the smallest flower is Wolffia microscopica. Okay, Wolffia, Wolffia, and the second name is microscopica because they are so small. That's why they are named as Wolffia microscopica. Now, we'll a little bit study about in details. Like this is the ovary, and here inside the ovary the ovules are there. Okay. Now. Okay, so this is the androecium, the calyx, which we call the which covers the flower in the bud condition. We have the gynoecium, and now this is called the perianth. As I told you, the corolla and the calyx. If the corolla and the calyx are indistinguishable, then we call it perianth. Okay. Here you can see the different types of stamens they are showing. This is the stamen which you find in hibiscus. You will see this is the stigma which is passing through the style, the anther lobes. The anther filament is actually a monodelphous. They form a single tube. Inside this tube, the style and the stigma comes out, and they are divided into 5 parts. This is called a pentaphyte stigma. And here they are showing different types. You know, like say for example. So this is the filament and this is the anther lobe. Okay, so here you can see the tip of the anther. These are the we call the lobes of the anther. As I told you, there are 2 lobes. If there are 2 lobes, they are called dithecous. If there is a single lobe, then we call it a monothecous. And theta is the core. And this is the lobe, and this is the filament, and the filament is connected on the anther lobe. Now, how it is connected? On basis of that, the anther lobes can be divided. Like if it is fixed to the dorsal side, we call dorsifixed. If it is fixed on the basal side, we call the basifixed. So the attachment of the filament to the stigma, we can also differentiate the stigma into different parts. Now, this is the tetragonal structure of the anther lobes. And here you can see actually this anther, the main reproductive part of the anther develops from a type of cell which is called the pre-archisporial cell. Now this pre-archisporial cell develops into the outer epidermis and insert in the inner sporogenous tissue. You can see here, this is the layer of the young anther lobe, and here it develops into the outer epidermal cells, they develop into a tissue called epidermis, the endothecium, there is a middle layer, and this is the tapetum. So the tapetum is actually the part of the cell which is surrounding the spores, or what we call the microsporangium, or inside which you have the pollen grains or the male gametes which undergo meiosis. The middle layer usually they degenerate, the epidermis remains. Okay. And here you can see that how they develop. They are showing here the epidermis, the endothecium, the middle layer. This is the microsporangium which undergoes meiosis and develops into the microsporophase, and this is the tapetum there. And they undergo the microscopical view of this capital cell, and this is the anther lobe. So this is the microspore mother cell, usually what we call from where the male gamete develops. That is the development of the pollen grain. Now that we'll take up in the next class. So till then, go through the chapter. If you have any question, you can put up the question, and we are try to answer. And be safe, stay at home, and take care.